What happens when love survives the breaking and returns forged in fire? The moon was shattered, the bond was stolen, and the Alpha of the North walked through blood and shadow to bring his Luna home. But this is not the end of the story. This is the reckoning. Tonight, Kaelen and Serenya rise together, not as broken mates, not as hunted souls, but as Alpha and Luna united, bound by a bond that even death failed to sever. The witches wait, the forest trembles, and the moon watches as love, vengeance, and fate collide. This is Chapter 17 of Alpha, Reluctant Luna, where the bond is reborn, the Coven falls, and legends are sealed in blood and silver. Welcome back to the Velvet Story. Snow whispered across the ramparts as the Alpha of the North came home. Kaelen's cloak hung in tatters, the black fur soaked with blood. Behind him rode Lyra, Calder, and Rowan, silent as ghosts. None spoke, not because they feared him, but because words were too small for what they had seen in the Frostveil. In Kaelen's gloved hand lay the orb, the Luna shard, its light dimming with every mile. He held it close to his chest, as if warmth alone could keep it alive. The gates opened with a groan, the fortress lights flared to greet him, and the wolves of Ironfang dropped to their knees. They saw the state of their Alpha, the blood, the hollow stare, and they howled not in triumph, but in mourning. Kaelen didn't stop to answer. He crossed the great hall, boots streaking crimson on the stone, and pushed open the doors to his chamber. Serenya lay as he'd left her, white, still, her hair spread like spilled ink on the pillow. For a moment, everything in him cracked. He went to his knees beside the bed and set the glowing shard above her heart. The light flickered weakly, as though uncertain whether to stay. "Don't you dare fade," he whispered, voice shaking. "I killed for you. I burned for you. Don't you dare leave me now." The shard pulsed once, twice, then dimmed again. Kaelen's breath caught. Lyra stepped forward, ready to offer aid, but he lifted a hand. "No, this is between us." He closed his eyes and reached inward toward the frayed end of their bond. The witches had stolen the magic, but not his will. He forced his power through the link, feeding the shard every memory that made her his. The first time he'd seen her laugh, the way she'd trembled yet stood her ground during training, the scent of her skin after rain, the sound of her heartbeat under his palm. Each memory cost him strength. The room darkened as his aura bled into the air, silver light winding through the shadows. Lyra whispered, "He's burning his life force." Rowan caught her arm. "Let him. It's the only way she'll feel him." The shard flared brighter. Serenya's body twitched, a single fragile movement. Her lashes fluttered. Kaelen gasped, forcing more power through the bond. The mark on his chest seared. The same mark on her heart shimmered faintly in response. "Come back," he breathed, forehead pressed to hers. "I'm right here, love. Come back to me." The light blazed, filling the room with pure, blinding silver. And then, a sound. Her breath hitched, her fingers curled around his sleeve. Her voice, cracked and faint, slipped out like the first breath of spring. "Kaelen?" The sound of his name shattered him. He laughed, a raw, broken laugh that dissolved into a sob. He gathered her into his arms, clutching her as if she might vanish again. "You're here," he whispered against her hair. "Moon above, you're here." Serenya's eyes blinked open. Confusion clouded them. Then recognition. Her gaze fell on the shard still glowing between them. What happened?" He cupped her face, thumb tracing the curve of her cheek. "You gave yourself to protect me. The witches took what wasn't theirs. I just took it back." Her lips trembled. "You nearly died." He smiled faintly, weary but sincere. "It wouldn't be the first time your stubbornness tried to kill me." She gave a small, breathless laugh, and then winced as pain rippled through her chest. The bond mark burned anew, lines of silver etching across her skin. Lyra stepped forward, awe softening her usual frost. The bond's reforging! But Kaelen felt it before anyone else. That familiar tug in his soul, the whisper that said mine in a language older than words. He pressed his forehead to hers again, tears cutting paths through the blood on his face. "Welcome home, Luna." The warmth between them deepened until it became unbearable. Then, bliss. The silver light dimmed, leaving behind only moon-soft glow. Serenya slumped against him, exhausted but breathing steadily. Kaelen held her close, the air thick with relief. The others quietly slipped from the room, leaving them alone in the quiet hum of reborn magic. Minutes or hours passed before Serenya stirred again. "They're not gone, are they?" she murmured. "No," Kaelen admitted. "Their coven still breathes, and they'll come for what they lost." Her fingers tightened around his. "Then we finish this, together." He looked down at her, pale, fragile, fierce, and something inside him steadied. The fire that had been consuming him turned to purpose. "Together," he said. Outside, thunder rolled across the mountains. Somewhere in the distance, the witches screamed, the sound of vengeance sensing its end. Kaelen lifted Serenya gently, cradling her as if she were made of moonlight. "Rest tonight. Tomorrow we make the world remember what happens when it touches the bond of an alpha and his Luna." Dawn broke blood red over the mountains. The storm had not stopped all night. Wind howled through the Iron Fang fortress, scattering snow like shards of glass. Beneath the storm, the world seemed to wait, as if it too held its breath for what was coming. Inside the Alpha's hall, warriors armed themselves. Steel clinked, boots thundered, and the air pulsed with the growl of wolves ready to fight. But in the heart of it all stood Kaelen and Serenya, silent. She wore the Luna's mantle again, white as frost, trimmed in silver. The glow of her reborn bond shimmered faintly against her throat, alive and steady. Kaelen's gaze lingered on her. Even in the chaos, he couldn't look away. Her every breath tugged at him like a current. He'd always been powerful, but beside her his strength felt sharpened, perfected, as if the moon herself had completed what destiny began. "Are you sure you're strong enough?" he asked softly, adjusting her armor. Serenya's lips curved in quiet defiance. "You forget, Alpha. I've survived your training." That earned her a rare, genuine laugh, low, deep, the kind that warmed her even in this cold. "Then may the goddess have mercy on the witches, because I won't." They rode together at the head of the pack. Hundreds of wolves followed, their fur gleaming like a river of silver and shadow. Snow spiraled around them as they tore across the valley, the moon fading behind crimson clouds. The frost veil loomed again, but this time the forest did not whisper, it screamed. The witch's lair throbbed with corrupted power, the air rippling with curses and illusions. Kaelen dismounted first, his aura surging like thunder. Serenya followed, her wolf barely restrained beneath her skin. "This is where they broke us. It's where we end it." He nodded, eyes fixed on the swirling black mist ahead. "Stay close to me. If they try to split us again—" "They won't," she interrupted. Her voice was firm, unshakable. "Not anymore." Their bond hummed an answer, silver threads of light flickering between them, invisible to mortal eyes, but blazing bright to those with magic. The air thickened, and from within the mist came the first wave. Shadows surged forward, twisted wolves, eyes black with witchcraft. Kaelin's growl rolled like thunder. "Protect the Luna!" The Iron Fang warriors roared and clashed with the cursed beasts. Steel met fang, magic met muscle. The world became a blur of motion, sound, and fury. Kaelen cut through the first line of corrupted wolves, every movement precise and brutal. He fought not as a man, but as legend, the alpha of the north whose wrath the forest still remembered. But when a pack of spectral hounds lunged for Serenya, she didn't falter. Her wolf flared, golden and fierce, and her voice rang like a bell. Enough! Light exploded outward, her Luna aura unleashed in full. The hounds dissolved into mist, and for a moment the entire battlefield froze to stare. Kaelen turned, awe flashing through his rage. Her eyes glowed silver, her power pulsed with life, wild, untamed, hers. The witches appeared then, 6 of them, their robes snapping like banners in the wind. At their center stood the one who had escaped Kaelin's wrath, the second eldest, her hatred burning white-hot. "You should have stayed dead, Alpha," she hissed. "The bond we broke will destroy you both." Kaelen stepped forward, placing himself between her and Serenya. His eyes gleamed gold. "You keep saying that, and yet here I am, stronger for it." The witch snarled and raised her hands. Lightning split the sky, fire burst from the ground, and shadows coiled around them. Kaelen lunged, meeting her power with his own. Silver flame collided with black storm, the explosion shaking the mountains. Serenya joined him, weaving her Luna magic into his, her light softening his fury, his strength anchoring her fire. Together, they were unstoppable. Every spell thrown at them shattered against the combined force of Alpha and Luna. The air blazed with runes of light, the snow melted to steam. The witch screamed, "You can't kill what is eternal!" Serenya's voice rose above the roar, clear and fierce. "Then may your eternity end tonight." She thrust her hands forward, and the Luna's light, pure and blinding, burst from her palms. It struck the witch full in the chest, tearing through her magic. Kaelen followed with a final blow, his claws cutting through the storm. The witch's scream echoed once, then silence. The world stilled. Snow drifted down in soft flakes, white and innocent once more. The corrupted wolves turned to ash, and the frost that had stained the forest began to fade. Kaelen dropped to his knees, panting, his body trembling from the effort. Serenya was beside him in an instant, her hand finding his cheek. "It's over," she whispered. He caught her hand, pressing it to his lips. "It's never over, but for now, we can breathe." Her eyes softened. "You said once that love was a weakness." He met her gaze, a tired smile tugging at his lips. "I was wrong. It's the only strength that's ever mattered." She leaned forward, brushing her lips against his, a kiss slow and deep, the kind that rewrote every scar they'd earned. The bond flared, wrapping them both in silver light. When they finally pulled apart, the forest was quiet again. Lyra approached, bloodied but grinning. "Alpha, Luna, the witch's stronghold is gone." Kaelen nodded. "Then let the world remember, Iron Fang stands united, by love, by bond, by fate." Serenya looked toward the horizon, where dawn finally broke, clean and golden. She reached for his hand, their fingers intertwining. "Let's go home," she said softly. He smiled. "Home isn't the fortress, Luna." She blinked, puzzled. "It's wherever you are." And for the first time in months, she laughed, bright and unguarded, the sound echoing through the thawing forest. The Alpha and his Luna walked hand in hand toward the rising sun, the bond between them unbreakable, the legend of their love already whispering across the northern winds. The witches are gone. The forest breathes again, and the bond between Alpha and Luna shines brighter than ever. They stood together when the world tried to tear them apart. They chose love when power demanded sacrifice, and in doing so, they rewrote fate itself. But every legend has one final breath, one quiet moment after the storm. The battle is over, the bond is unbreakable, and all that remains now is the truth of what comes after happily ever after. Join me next time on The Velvet Story for the epilogue, where we witness the future Kaelen and Serenya have fought so fiercely to claim, and where the moon finally lays its blessing upon their love. Until then, rest easy, Alpha and Luna. Your story will echo forever.